All right, welcome to Ohio State Week. It's been a great camp. Really excited about our football team and how hard our young men have worked, and the coaches and everybody involved in our program for the last several weeks through fall camp. Obviously, culminates with this part of the season. The spring and the summer is a big part of that, and our preparation. So just a lot of anticipation for next Thursday from our players, coaches, and everybody involved. So really excited about the opportunity that's going to create, having College Game Day here, biggest home opener in the history of our program. I know I've said that many times, but it is what it is. It's exactly the situation we find ourselves in, and having game day here and being able to get our fans exposed to that. I know they're going to open the gates an hour early so we can get more fans here for that, which is a big deal for us, and get them here at 5:30 and pack out our stadium, get our fans involved and get them behind us. They've been super. I've been out speaking out the whole spring and summer and been really encouraged by the response of our fans and all those involved. So a lot of excitement about our program, and this opener is kind of one that very unique for sure, but very exciting. And I know our players are in the build-up mode. You know, we still got several days left, lots of prep ahead of us, but we know that we're excited about what's ahead. In regards to a little update with our roster, we've got Austin King has decided to transfer, and we really wish him the very, very best. He fine young man and a very good family, and so he will no longer be with us. And then Amari Stringer is a young man that's just physically had lots of challenges, and so he will remain with us and help us, but won't be playing this fall just because his body is just not able to do so. And so he's going to be a student assistant with us and helping us help our guys, and excited to be able to help him finish up. And I just think he's a quality person that I care a lot about. So excited about him and him be able to stay apart with us. And then I got captains for this week. The Ohio State game captains defensively. T. Gray Scales, as you would expect, and Greg Gooch. I think those two guys have separated themselves in their leadership all spring and summer. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Richard Lago has done a tremendous job in his leadership and taking over our team and really growing. And then Wes Martin is a guy that's just so highly respected by his teammates and his work ethic and his toughness and what he brings. And so those four young men will be our game day captains for Ohio State, and we'll start the trend for the year. Those could change each week, and our coaching staff and players have input on that. No decision's been made yet, so still looking at all that.
On the roster, you have Donovan Hale ahead of Nick Westbrook. I guess why?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it before. You know, Donovan's had a tremendous fall camp, and it's all about competition here at Indiana, and nobody's guaranteed a spot. Nick's worked hard, done a lot of good things, but highly competitive at several positions, and obviously they're all both going to play a tremendous amount. So sometimes you kind of, I know it's a big deal about who's listed as the starter, but at positions like that, and there's several, you don't rotate your quarterbacks every few plays, but you often do receivers and D-line and sometimes DBs and running backs. Those guys all play, but to list a guy right now in the actual depth chart, that's where we see it. And so it's about earning something new every day, and that's what we want here. I want that competitive mindset. I want our guys understanding that nothing's set in stone. I don't care what you did last year, and it's just really more a tribute to what Donovan has done, and so I like that. I love having guys battling for spots. I think that makes everything better, and makes our team better. And so that's definitely one that's the reason why.
Richard's leadership. Where have you seen him take, the biggest step? What have you seen him do, even maybe just during fall camp?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the confidence to confront your teammates. That's hard to do. If you're going to run something, you got to run it. And I demand the same thing of the linebackers. They got to run the defense. And if a guy is out of position or doesn't do his job, they got to have the courage and the confidence to stand in the right way, correct them, and it's whether it's a technical thing or an assignment or just effort, and so just seeing him grow in that and is a big thing, and also just communication, But once again, when you are confident in what you know and what you can do, you speak louder, you speak with more vigor, and you just aren't afraid to do that. And if you're not quite sure, you kind of have that, it's like if you don't know the answer to the question, you don't just shoot your hand up. But if you know the answer to the question, you have a whole different response. If it's kind of one of these, to me, it's the same thing. And so I feel like that he's grown in those areas. And a lot of that's just maturity. Some of that's just, being year 2 and being here. But obviously he's learned a new system. So just encouraged by his desire to want to do that. And then he's actually going out doing it. And he's making plays in practice, and as we do a lot of situational work that wasn't always happening in the past. So I really, really feel like that's things that I've been able to see tangibly that's encouraged me.
This offense, do you anticipate it being the Urban Meyer offense that Kevin Wilson's running? Is it the Kevin Wilson offense that Kevin's running, some sort of hybrid? How do you?
That's a great question. And we've been kind of having those same discussions, for a while. I think that's what everybody kind of wonders. Obviously, Coach Meyer is the head coach, and he's still there. And if you go back and look at how they performed last year, they did, they hung 63 on, I think, Maryland, and they beat Nebraska by 60-something. I mean, it wasn't like they were anemic, And so I don't think there were certain things that they didn't finish the way they expected to, for sure. So it wasn't like it was just, a completely broken offense and you want to come in and change everything. So you have to believe that it's going to be the core of what they've done with influence of Kevin Wilson. That's kind of what I perceive it to be, and how that influence looks, we'll find out. And that's why I continue to tell people and tell our coaches, tell our players, this game's going to be about adjustments. You're going to, both sides, they got to, everybody has to find what the other team's going to do, really when the kickoff occurs and we start playing football, and then you got to adjust, So, but that's kind of that's the chess match, the strategic part of it that you're trying to figure out is, okay, what's it really going to look like, So you just, and you know what, you kind of go through. It's not that unusual for game ones. I think every year you kind of always, when you get somebody that's on the staff that's new, and even if they're not, you're still trying to figure out, okay, this is what they did last year. What are they going to do different? Now, when you have certain guys back at certain positions, maybe quarterback may cause a little more consistency, just because you know what you're going to get from that position. They'll have some new receivers, some new running backs at depth-wise, but, their main starters back. And so, you kind of, I guess you'd have to assume you're going to see a core of what you've seen in the past with Kevin having his wrinkles on it and doing what he does. So, but obviously he does a great job, always has, and everywhere he's been. So he'll have him ready for sure.
Do you address at all just the whole sort of Coach Wilson coming back? Obviously, a lot of guys on the team, including you, know him very well. Do you talk about that much this week, or is it just something that you sort of leave alone?
No, we really don't. It's all Ohio State. Very, very genuinely, it's just all Ohio State. Really haven't mentioned that once.
You guys have kind of embraced the hype and build up to this game. Is there a balance you guys try to have between getting too hyped up and getting lost in all the excitement?
Oh, there's no doubt. And you got to have, and this is what I told our team. No matter what happens, game 1, we got to turn around and play Virginia next week. No matter what happens, good, bad, that's how you have to approach a game like this. And it is, you do what you want to do. It's a big win. You don't do what you want to do. It's a disappointment, and you move on. And so, but you can't make it all encompassing. That this is the game. That we have to have. And so it's a big game. And I just told you it's the next big game that we're playing in at Indiana. And so that's to me the approach. And because of that, you don't let the game be bigger than the season, the moment, all that. You just want your guys to be at their best. You want our guys to play for 60 minutes or beyond, whatever it's going to take to be able to finish. And so I think that you just have to, as a head coach, as a staff member, all of our guys have to understand. And the more you've been in as both a player and a coach, it helps. for sure, and because you've been on both sides of it, and you've also been, hey, what happens afterwards? How do we respond to this? And so I think that's a maturity you have to have. We got some older guys on our staff that have been through it, and we've got some older guys on our team that have played in a lot of big games here. So it's Nick's big game at Indiana. Yes.
You got preseason honors. I think it's 90-some% of defensive production from last year's back. How good can this group be, and what are your expectations for performance level in week 1 right out of the gate?
Well, being a defensive guy, I have high expectations for our defense. I expect them to execute better, than we did last year because we have so many guys back. I expect them to play hard like they always have. I expect them to tackle well, and we've said, before, and I'll say it again, that I want us to be a top 25 defense. And, that's, it's harder to go from where we were last year at the end of the year to even move up to top 25 across the board. We dipped into a couple of stats of that area than it is to go from, I think, the bottom to kind of in the middle. And so that's the good to great model that we've talked about as a staff, as a program, all spring long during the summer. It's a organizational challenge in any area of life, or business or anything that you do. And so just use the principles of that to try and teach. And how is that created? So, but that's the expectation. We want to go from being, a defense that was, I would say playing good defense a lot of the time to I want to be great, on our side of the ball. Now, we have to have guys that were here before. Just because it's year 2 doesn't mean they're going to play better, And there's often an edge that you have and a chip on your shoulder that you have when you're trying to prove yourself. And sometimes guys lose that when they think, and that's why to me it's almost like I've been harder on them, this year, even though I thought I was pretty hard on them last year to get them to elevate everything that they were doing in their preparation to now to continue to grow that, and to not let them have any sense of let up whatsoever that, okay, now we haven't done anything. That's kind of where we just break it down, tear it all down. These preseason, whatever, they don't mean jack. I told our team that. We have a lot of guys, all these preseason, whatever, awards, and, that doesn't mean anything, So everything you did last year, it can give you confidence, but it has nothing to do with your performance this year on the field. You have to recreate that intensity, that passion, that edge, and that's what we've been focused on as a program defensively.
Game situation scrimmage yesterday, what did you take away from that?
It was good. It always kind of exposes just some logistical things that you're working through. A lot of times it's with special teams, just the mechanics of having so many different, individuals from both offense, defense. The guy gets injured, has a helmet issue. You try to, okay, who's the backup? Because now you can be the backup on a special team and usually keep it. Everybody talks about it 2 deep. Well, if your number 1 goes down, number 2 becomes number 1, and number 3 becomes number 2. And he's 1 injury away from being number 1. So a guy can go from being a 3 to a 1 just like that. So, and then a lot of those transitions happen on, punt team and punt return team because those are in-game transition special teams. So you're working on all those situations. And then just even how you, as a staff on the sideline, handle, okay, you got this special team here. How many guys? You got 11 guys. Well, do you have the right 11 guys? So we just the way we organize ourselves, and it kind of exposes some of that if you don't have it where you want it, and you got to make sure you get it right. So to me, it was more of that, and then we just did work on specific situations, offensively, defensively, into the half, into the game, those kind of things where you're trying to get the right personnel and right concept executed. So you need that. We had the headsets working, got coaches in the press box. We literally came out, we simulated the coming out of the tunnel, simulated everything, going in at halftime, where the players are, where the coaches are. I mean, it was truly every phase of the game simulated. And then even simulated, when we win, here's where we go to sing the fight song with our student section, So everything was covered and expectation of what's to come.
Any nighttime workouts?
We did because of the catching punts, catching kicks, catching balls at night with the lights. Yes, we did.
Here in the 2 deep on left tackle. I know he's a guy that like, but maybe some development. It seems like he's progressed quicker than you guys thought. What have you seen from him?
He absolutely has been a pleasant surprise. I really felt like that we would need to bring him in here and redshirt him, and just to get his body and his footwork and everything, physically get stronger. Been a lot more athletic than I expected. Very good feet. Without question, the numbers show he's very big, tall, big old kid that really been, it's always hard to find tackle bodies. We say that all the time in recruiting. I don't think I've ever been on a staff that didn't have such a huge challenge to find tackle bodies on your team. Guys that can play left or right tackle at this level. And so that length is a big part of that. And so he's really been, he's got a lot of work to do, but that's what he's listed at, and that's what he is. And so we been encouraged by his progress for sure. He's got to continue to keep growing. May have to grow up real fast. I think it's going to be, you're going to have probably 4 or 5 guys, that I can see all being meaningful minutes, and I think that Mike Majette is kind of that solidifying, does everything really well kind of guy. Morgan Ellison has been a surprise. I knew he was a good player. Thought he may need to come up and have to have time to develop. But he's right there in the mix, and so that'd be the guy that I really feel like. Vontae Williams has been as quick and explosive as he has always been, and Cole, getting him back was good, and he's got a great burst, and so those guys are all going to be in that rotation, So it's just it'll be interesting to see who separates when it's the bullets are live and it's game time to see who makes those plays. But I think you need to have a stable. I remember last year we thought we had so much depth there, and then by the end of the year it was thin, real thin. So you just got to keep a lot of guys in the mix and keep them rotating in practice and in games, and let them keep developing.